Hey everyone, today we're going to be painting a 40k Plague Marine, and the first thing you want to do is you want to base coat it with the Death Guard green primer, and then what you're going to do is you're going to use the base Screaming Bell. This is a really good color for all the metal trim and the spiky bits. It works really good for the accents for the kind of this Death Guard green. Another nice thing about this color is it goes on fairly well. I'm not even watering any of these paints down. I'm just going straight out of the pot. And normally you can get away with just 2 thin coats and it'll look really good. One thing to note is you got to be really careful with the edges because you can cover up some of the mistakes. You can get death green colors from Citadel just in a regular pot, so you can do any touch-ups, but the less touch-ups you have to do, the better it's going to be. So you just want to go slow and make sure you don't make any mistakes. With any of these 40k models, especially the Chaos ones, the trim is where you're going to lose a bulk of your time. So here you can see I like to start with the shoulder pads, and there is a lot of spiky bits on this particular fellow. And I even got the little sigil, or whatever you want to call it, on his left pauldron there. And then you just kind of start working your way down. You start doing the smaller trim here. This is optional, but I think having a lot of this bronze color to break up the green really works well. And you don't have to be super neat with it because we're going to go over a couple washes that are going to cover up a lot of mistakes. And also with Death Guard, you can get away with a messier look because, you know, they're a rotting army. Next we go with Raykarth Flesh, and this is for obviously all the fleshy parts. So he's got some kind of like bulbous growth coming out of his leg. He's got a severed head. He's got a little tentacle thing coming out from his left shoulder there. So you just want to get them good. And then you go with Abaddon or Abaddon Black, however you pronounce it. And this is more just some of the smaller mechanical parts. So you got the hoses, the kind of the connectors by the shoulder pads. Some of these parts are so small, it's almost impossible not to make a mistake, but luckily you can cover it up pretty well. So right here I've gone through most of the stuff. I did there's like a bony part down by his foot. I did that in Xandri Dust. I also did Mournfane Brown and all the leather parts and the wood parts, and also you got Mephiston Red for the eye lenses. And I used a little bit of white for the grenades. And you can see all those like tubes. You've got a little bit of corn red there poking out from the fleshy tone. I think that breaks up well. Also, I did the guy's hair. He's apparently a redhead. You can also use some silver iron breaker on some of the silver parts, like that little strap there, and also the pins on the grenades. I did that too. But you just gotta do this. You really don't have to go any farther than this, but you could try to do a little bit more of the accents if you want. Next thing you want to do is Agrex Earthshade, and this thing is really going to make all these details pop on this model, and you pretty much wash everything down except for the fleshy parts and the bony part. So you just go and you really hit this good, get it everywhere. This is going to cover up a lot of the mistakes. It's also going to give it more of a really like a dirty look, which works well with the Death Guard. But you also want to use Athonian Camo Shade on the bony bits. That's going to give it more of a green color, which works really well with the Death Guard. And you use Reikland Flesh Shade on the fleshy parts. That'll give it more of a warmer, fleshy look. And then what I like to do is I use Drukai Violet on the tentacle parts. That'll give it a little bit of a green texture. There's only that really tiny tentacle on this guy, so you're not going to see it much, but yeah, you just go and you get everything. You can see there I mess up and I get some of that earth shade on the tentacle, but really it doesn't matter too much. You can fix it. Just don't go too crazy. What you want to do is you want to work top down and slowly work your way down. All right, so here's where I really screw up, and I decided to go with a different camera. I tried to go with the GoPro. Turns out it doesn't have an autofocus, and it's terrible.
You blew it! You had it all and you blew it!
So I use Sterling Battlemire here for the basing, and the reason I do that here is because I need to let it dry. So now I'm going to use Corn Red, and I'm going in all the little crevices. in the lore, like this armor is essentially binded to this guy, and it's like part of his skin, and you got all these weeping open pustules. So if you put these little dots of red, it looks like these open sores, and it looks really, really good in contrast. So next thing I'm going to be using is typhus corrosion here, and I'm putting it all over the that battle mire for a couple of reasons. One, I think it helps with the texture, and also it's like a glue and holds it in place. Nurgle's Rot, this is going to be to really make that base pop. So what this is it makes it look like you've got like this just nasty rotten material coming out of this like marshy muddy ground, and this works really well. It's a really easy way to base a Nurgle army, and it'll really tie it in together. Without this basing, the model is going to kind of really lack that extra pizzazz, but it looks really good. It's really simple. Next, you just get some tufts of grass. Get something that, you know, is a brown, looks dead. You stick them in there and put a little glue on the end. Use your hobby knife to really get into position. A lot of times you want to try to leave a flatter space with that battle mire. And here's that end result. Yep, looks pretty good and ready for the tabletop. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video.